Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
My name is Brett Cease, and I work in the Sustainability Office this year as a Minnesota Green Corps member. And one fun project that we've been able to do has been teaming up with the Traditional Skills Workshop Series, which the Sustainability Office hosts around once a month throughout the whole school year. And we taught a class on how to build Quinzhees, kind of the art of Quinzhee building. Quinzhees are a traditional snow shelter that have originated in the northern Canada region and Alaska. It was originally inhabited and a technology that was created by the Athapascan people. So several thousand years ago, people had to survive very harsh winters without a lot of tools to be able to kind of build shelters. And so at its most basic level, a Quinzhee is essentially a big snow dome. It's like a round house or a round kind of dome shape, very similar to an igloo in appearance, except rather than blocked ice being used as the main construction material, it's just compacted snow. So to build a Quinzhee, essentially all the materials you're going to need are a lot of snow, the more the merrier, some kind of shoveling device, and then a lot of sticks or some kind of thin rod. And what you do with that then basically is you slowly circle around this one space. You try to find an area on the ground that's really flat, that looks like it's not going to have a lot of uneven terrain when you dig it out, obviously, because you're going to be sleeping there. You want it to be nice and even. And then you slowly make bigger and bigger concentric circles, shoveling the snow on the ground into a central pile. And you're just slowly mounding that up. And maybe every one or two passes, what you do is you take a break from shoveling, and it feels really good at that point because you're really sick of the same motion. And instead, you just work around the circle and you actually compact it. You're really kind of trying to tighten that space so that the snow is together. And so that process, depending on how motivated you are, depending on how thick the snowfall is, can take anywhere from an hour to several hours, again, also depending on how big you want your Quinzhee. If you want a one-person Quinzhee, well, maybe that's only half an hour. If you want a Quinzhee big enough for a party, then you might be there the whole afternoon. After you've got the Quinzhee the size of the mound that you want, you also want to make sure that you get all your sticks out. And again, you can just find them, in the brush pile in the middle of the woods, however you want to get them. And you measure out about a foot for each of them. Now, you don't have to be very precise, but around that length, and then you're going to insert them at that angle of kind of entry point into the dome, and you want to make about 2 to 3 rings around the dome. And the sticks, you don't do it to make it look like a porcupine or odd. You're doing it on top of that to really make sure that when you're shoveling it out after it's settled, that you're not kind of digging too far and weakening the structure in a certain area. Because it might seem pretty easy from the outside to figure out the dimensions from the inside, but it's a whole different world once you get in there. And especially with the darkness and not being able to see very well, those sticks are very helpful guides to know, okay, well, I hit the stick, that means I'm going to kind of leave this area off anymore. It kind of helps you cordon off different areas until you've excavated the right dome shape. So you put all those sticks in, and then you let it settle. And then after it's settled, you come back out and you take a shovel, and at this point, a big shovel has been really helpful to get all that snow thrown on. It's nice to have like a small pot even. We had frisbees. You can have little mini shovels. And however you want, it's kind of confined space. You define kind of where you want your door, and the door's dimensions are actually a pretty important part of the Quinzhee. Obviously, the bigger the door, the more heat can enter and leave the Quinzhee. So you kind of want to keep it small, but you don't want it so small that your back scrapes against it, or for whatever reason you don't feel comfortable exiting and leaving the Quinzhee. So you have your door, and then you slowly start. It's this long excavation, and you're working together, and you're really kind of maybe giving each other breaks, and people are slowly kind of unfolding this inner chamber, and that again kind of taps into that childhood experience of, wow, here is this whole cave that didn't exist, before we created it ourselves. And at that point then, that's all that you really have left to do. The Quinzhee can be anywhere, like I said, between 3 feet to 5 feet tall inside, maybe even bigger if you have a lot of energy. So it's really important as well to be aware that, like any kind of a structure, the Quinzhee has safety risks. I guess one thing that I'd want to pass on is it's traditional that people don't build Quinzhees alone. You're obviously working with kind of an unpredictable substance in that snow. You know, when I have kind of heard of Quinzhees collapsing, they give a little bit of a warning with kind of caving in a little bit and then a little bit more and then settling. But it's really important that you have somebody available in a position to dig you out should the snow collapse on you. And at this point, also just be aware that when you're shoveling, the most advantageous position to do that in, if it does collapse, is obviously on your knees rather than kind of lying prone facing down. And the good news for viewers, not to intimidate them, is once the Quinzhee has been shoveled out, it's almost guaranteed not to collapse. It's in that active process of putting stress on the walls and digging and pounding that it might shift. So people shouldn't feel afraid once they're in there. You know, I know myself at least, I still feel a slight tinge of paranoia tucking into my sleeping bag at night and lying there looking up at the Quinzhee in the middle of the winter, in the middle of the woods. But the viewers should know that Quinzhees are very safe and that it's just that process of deconstructing the inside that they should be careful. I think the Quinzhee building workshop really appeals to everyone. I think it was really an intriguing idea for anyone that walked by and saw the posters or the sign-up sheet. And I think it's because it really taps into all of our kind of kid pasts. You know, I think in northern Minnesota or kind of the whole Northwoods, a lot of us have that experience growing up, you know, on a snow day after a big dump and we didn't have school, going outside and just having fun in the sun or maybe in the continuing ongoing blizzard and really tunneling out. You know, I have memories of creating these labyrinths in our backyard, you know, in big drifts, or even out in North Dakota, you know, there'd be huge drift piles in the middle of winter. And I think that experience, you know, of really kind of creating a shelter, a really homey feeling atmosphere out of a very harsh landscape is something that almost everyone can tap into from their childhood.
If you enjoyed this segment of Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground, consider making a contribution at lptv.org. If you have segment ideas pertaining to North Central Minnesota, contact us at legacy@lptv.org. Common Ground is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund by the vote of the people on November 4th, 2008.